Fire protection districts across the state had to make budget cuts in 2017 because of a weird provision in Colorado's Constitution. A provision that meant that exploding growth in home prices in the Front Range actually forced budget restrictions to firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics in Montrose. That provision is the Gallagher Amendment. In 1982, voters passed the Gallagher Amendment to the Constitution that changed the way homes were appraised, and it also required that the amount of property taxes collected from homes statewide could never account for more than roughly 45% of total property tax collections statewide. The amendment means that the remaining 55% of property taxes must come from non-residential property, like businesses and agricultural property. Gallagher also dictated the assessment rate for all property. What's the assessment rate? It's the percentage of a property's value that is subject to taxation. You don't pay taxes on the entire value of your home, only a portion of it. For example, if you have a $300,000 home and the assessment rate is 7.2%, you only pay property taxes on $21,600 of the home's value. That assessed value gets multiplied by your locally approved mills, about a third to the school district, a third to Montrose County, and the remaining third to special districts like your library, recreation, water, and fire protection district. Gallagher locked the assessment rate on most non-residential property at 29%. That set rate means the assessment rate for residential property must fluctuate to maintain that roughly 45-55 ratio. When Gallagher was added to the Constitution, the residential assessment rate was 21%. Throughout the 1980s, the growth in value of residential property outpaced increases in non-residential property values statewide. With ever-increasing residential property values, the assessment rate on homes had to be lowered. It fell to 18%, then 16%, then 15%. It hit 10.36% in 1995, then it fell to 7.96% in 2003. In 2017, it dropped to 7.2%. We can see the budget cuts that resulted from the Gallagher drop from 7.96% to 7.2% in 2017. That's roughly a 10% drop in the rate. This hurt different parts of Colorado in different ways. In Denver, where home values have grown by more than 10%, the services funded by property taxes did not have to be cut. In the areas of the state that didn't experience 10% growth in home values, however, property taxes fell and local governments collected less tax revenue. This is particularly troubling for local governments whose property tax base consists mostly of housing properties. This is the exact situation many fire protection districts across the state are dealing with. Ragged Mountain's property tax dropped by 32%. Uray's dropped by 16%. Lewis Areola fell by 21%. More than a quarter of Colorado's fire protection districts collected less property tax in 2017 than they did the year before. Even the fire districts which have seen growth in taxable property value are facing budget cuts because they saw a lot of their property value reduced by the Gallagher Amendment. And unlike schools, which get more money from the state budget if their local revenue falls, fire districts don't get help from the state. They are totally dependent upon local revenue. Let's look back at our $300,000 house in Montrose. At an assessment rate of 7.96%, the house had $23,880 in assessed value and paid $205 for emergency services. Then the assessment rate fell. Because of the fall in the assessment rate to 7.2%, potential revenue was decreased. Montrose County saw 16% growth in property values, which should mean bigger budgets for its fire districts. However, because of the Gallagher drop by 10% on homes, Montrose Fire Protection District's tax revenue only grew by 3.5%. This isn't enough to keep up with population growth, inflation, and increased emergency call volume. Because of that 10% drop, Montrose Fire Protection District delayed the hiring of 3 additional emergency staff and delayed the replacement of emergency equipment. And the problem gets worse in the coming years. Because residential property value increases continue to outpace non-residential value growth statewide, Gallagher will cause another, even bigger drop in property tax collections in 2020 and beyond. Current estimates suggest a 15% reduction in the assessment rate on homes to 6.1% in 2019. This decrease would cost Montrose Fire Protection District $272,000 in annual revenue. The district will not be able to continue to provide service at current levels, or adapt to community growth and increasing call volume. This means reducing staff levels by 3 firefighters, dropping 1 staffed engine and 1 staffed ambulance, the closing of Station 2, discontinuing providing non-essential services such as plan reviews and code enforcement, limiting involvement in support in community events, and initiating operational budget cuts to offset normal inflation. Closed stations and reduced staff will increase emergency response times, as well as make it harder to respond to multiple incidents at the same time. Given the 10% drop in 2017 and another 15% drop in 2019 means the residential assessment rate will have fallen by nearly 25% in 4 years. At the same time, emergency call volume continues to grow. While the reduction in the assessment rate might seem like a tax cut for homeowners, they will be paying in different ways unless Gallagher is changed. Increased response times means ISO ratings go up on properties in Montrose, resulting in higher insurance costs on homes and businesses. This video was brought to you by the Colorado Fiscal Institute, with support from the Montrose Fire Protection District.